So for the last 3 years of my full-time travel journey, I have been very much a budget traveler, pinching pennies where I can, really being mindful and conscious about how much I'm spending every week, month, etc. And while that is very necessary when starting out, especially in certain parts of the world, I'm here in Bali, Indonesia, the place where apparently you can spend $1,000 to $1,500 a month and live like a queen. And by no means am I being particularly extravagant, but I am straying from my budget travel ways a bit. I'm eating out pretty much every meal, doing a little bit of shopping, getting a membership at a nice gym. If that's something you're into and you are thinking about coming to Bali, Indonesia, this might be a pretty good idea of what you can expect to spend. So right now, the conversion rate for USD to IDR, Indonesian rupiah, is $1 for 15,151 rupiah approximately. This fluctuates a little bit, but that is a general rule of thumb. And I'm going to start off with the most expensive category and work my way down to the least expensive. But the number one, it's not accommodation, it is food. So on this particular week, I was in full work grind mode. So I didn't really want to necessarily quote unquote waste time. It's not really wasting time to make your own food, but I wanted to save time in that regard. So I would usually order about one meal, usually dinner per day through the Gojek app. It's usually just a normal amount of money. And then there's also a small delivery fee, usually like 15 to 25 Indonesian rupiah and tax. So I usually do that like once a day. And then I would also usually eat out twice a day, usually breakfast and lunch wherever I was working at a cafe. I would have at least one coffee and sometimes some kind of juice. So yeah, it all made me feel super nice and healthy, and everything in Bali is just really nice and healthy. You can get some really great options. For this section, I spent about 2,153,000 Indonesian rupiah in the week. This comes out to about 142 US dollars, and if you split that by 7, it comes out to about $20 a day. That's crazy. Like, I was eating super nice meals, like gourmet looking things, and I was very blown away. You know, obviously I was in Mexico before this. I spent about the same amount that I did in Mexico, but in Mexico I was doing a lot more budgeting. So I was staying in hostels, I was making a lot of my food at home, but yeah, I was really just treating myself this whole week. So yeah, about $142 for the week for food, all eating out. And obviously you can spend so much less than this if you're eating a lot of local meals. You'll be spending so much less. Like, you can really get it down to like $5 US a day if you're eating all local meals or cooking for yourself. But even, you know, when I did some grocery shopping, you'll probably spend a little bit less than you would if you ate out a lot, but from my experience being here, a lot of people eat out most meals rather than get their groceries and make food, because in a lot of the accommodations, the kitchens aren't necessarily the best unless that's something you're really looking for. But yeah, I don't need people coming in the comments and saying, oh, you're gonna spend so much less, because I know. Okay, moving on to the second most expensive category in this video, and that is accommodation. I was actually staying at an Airbnb. I know in the past I've always pretty much stayed in co-living spaces because I really like to have the community atmosphere and, you know, people to kind of hold me accountable with work. But I was really feeling having my own space this week, so I stayed at Anyar Guest House, and I did a full tour of this in my previous vlog, but I absolutely loved this Airbnb. So obviously I had a private room, and then there was kind of a shared area with a really nice pool and a kitchen and kind of an area where you can sit and hang out. There was a bunch of chairs and stuff like that, and the location was really great as well. You could walk to a good amount of things, which, you know, in Canggu that is unheard of. So I really enjoyed that piece of it. And for this accommodation, I stayed here for 10 days, so I got like a small weekly discount, and it came out to 1,969,000, about 1.97 million Indonesian rupiah, which comes out to about 130 US dollars. So per night, that ended up being about 1857 USD. Totally worth it in my opinion. Okay, so the next most expensive thing that I spent this week was actually on shopping, and this is not usually something that I do when I'm traveling because I travel really light. On this trip, I only have my 40-liter Osprey backpack and my camera bag. So yeah, usually I really don't do any shopping because I'll just have to get rid of something that I already own. But Liana, my best friend, she gave me the perfect excuse to go shopping because she had room in an extra duffel she brought to take some of my clothes home. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take advantage of this. So we went to this local market in Canggu. There was a lot of handmade clothes and bags and blankets, jewelry, stuff like that. I passed by it one day on a Gojek and I was like, I have to go in there. So we went in there one day and yeah, it was such a great place, but I ended up getting actually this top. It came with a pair of shorts and this long sleeve kind of white set thing, super cute. I got that, a necklace. Am I wearing it? Oh my god, I'm wearing it. See, I'm putting it to good use. Wearing this necklace. Oh, and I got this like cute little like comfy yellow cropped t-shirt as well. And all of that, I spent 1.3 million Indonesian rupiah, which comes out to $85.78. So obviously I don't do this kind of shopping regularly. I wouldn't factor it into like a monthly cost. I don't do $85 worth of shopping on a weekly basis, but again, I'm treating myself this week, okay? Next, we have transportation. Now, in Bali, there is no public transportation. This is something I am not used to traveling through Latin America for the last few years. So I definitely had to adjust to this. And particularly in Canggu, which is where I tracked this weekly spending, the traffic's insane. And pretty much the only way that you can get around in a timely fashion in Canggu is on a scooter. So for the first couple weeks that I was in Bali, I only took Gojeks. It's an amazing app. You have to download it when you come here. It's where I ordered my food through, and also you can order cars and scooters, and you basically just jump on the back of a scooter and it will cost anywhere from like 80 cents to $1.50 for, you know, 10 to 20 minute ride. Very, very convenient. So I did that for the first couple of weeks, but then I started feeling like I wanted a bit more freedom. I wanted to be able to, you know, go around by myself, stop on the side of the road if I wanted to, and not have to, you know, put a specific destination into my phone. So I decided this week that I was going to face my, I wouldn't even call it a fear, but I was definitely nervous to get on the road because, like I said, the traffic in Canggu is crazy. This is something I talked about in a previous vlog, but if you don't have much experience riding a scooter, Bali is not the place to learn on your own. You need to do a lesson and take it seriously. So that's what I did. I spent 400K to do a 2-hour private scooter lesson with Canggu Scooter Lessons. My instructor Rico was amazing. You basically learn all the basics in a very safe environment in this park. You ride around, there's cones, you learn how to do all the maneuvers, and then once he deems you ready, you will go out onto the main road and follow the instructor. There's a little like walkie-talkie. He'll tell you, okay, we're gonna turn left here, turn right here. If you leave your blinker on, which is something I do a lot, he'll say, hey, turn your blinker off. It's a really great way to get your feet wet with riding a scooter. And yeah, by the end of it, I actually felt really comfortable getting on the roads. Obviously, learning the traffic and the rules of the road and driving on the left side of the road is a whole other thing. So that's why I do recommend taking some Gojeks first, so you can get on the road and sort of get familiar with the lay of the land. Anyways, I factored all of that into the total cost for transportation for this week. So the 400K for the private lesson, and then to rent the scooter, I spent, what was it? 280K. This comes out to about 40K a day. This includes a helmet. It does not include gas, but gas is very, very cheap here, which can't relate in the US. For a full tank of gas, I spent 38,000 Indonesian rupiah. And then I also got a phone holder to attach to the rearview mirror on the bike. And this is essential for me, at least, to have my phone up so I have the navigation, because the streets are obviously a little bit confusing. I get lost with the GPS as it is. So this was essential. Just be careful. Apparently, people have had their phone snatched off the bike, so just make sure it's attached really tightly and you're watching it, all of that. But yeah, so total for the week for transportation, I spent 972,000 IDR, which comes out to about 64 US dollars. Okay, so the next thing I decided to invest in for my physical and mental health was a gym membership. So I decided to get a week pass. Well, actually, to preface, gyms in Bali are way more expensive than I was expecting. It's fairly shocking, I guess, because everyone that's going to these gyms are foreigners, so the prices are very jacked up. They are on par, if not more, than a lot of gyms that you'll find in the US or the UK or Australia. Because these gyms are marketed to those types of people, the prices are high. There are budget options. So the first gym I went to, you can actually get a month pass for about 24 US dollars or a day pass for $3. But you know, you get what you pay for. The facilities aren't as good. It's not that big. You have to pay for a towel. You can't fill up your water. It was super weird. So, you know, you kind of get what you pay for. I wanted to go somewhere that was a little bit in the middle. So I decided to go to Avenue Fitness. I got a week pass, and for the week pass, it was 800K, which is about 53 US dollars. Obviously, if you got a month pass or even a year pass, that's an option. The, you know, overall cost would go down, but I was only in Canggu for 10 days. And this included the gym, which was super nice. It's 2 stories, an ample amount of equipment, several different areas where you can lift weights, all the machines you could want, and they were all really good quality, obviously. And then it also included a sauna, a cold plunge, and a jacuzzi. So all of that was included. You also get a towel as well for free. You get a locker, so you don't have to pay extra for that. It's all included. That was really worth it for me, you know, going to the gym and moving my body, especially in Bali. It's very difficult to just go for a walk, which is quite difficult for me. I love going for a walk in the morning and getting out in nature, and it's just not a very walkable place, especially in Canggu. So if you want to get your steps in and you want to stay fit, you pretty much have to go to a gym. That's why I did it, and I have no regrets. And lastly, the cheapest category was laundry. I usually do my laundry once a week, and this is very typical in, you know, countries outside of the US. I can't speak for everywhere, but in Mexico at least it was the same. You can't really go to a laundromat, I don't even know if those exist, and do your own laundry. So you pretty much just drop it off at a laundry service and they will turn it around in 24 hours. They'll even go as far as to come pick it up from your accommodation and drop it back off within 24 hours. But for this one, I went and dropped it off because it was right around the corner from where I was staying. So for a, it was like a decent load and 24-hour turnaround, I spent $35K, which is about $2.30 US. They basically wash it. You can tell them to separate it, but they usually do that. And then I always tell them to wash it and dry it on low heat, and then they'll always iron it. So it's nice and folded and in like a plastic bag when you pick it up, which is great. Okay, so that is everything I spent this week in Canggu, Bali. Total price for this was, or the total amount that I spent was 7,229,996 IDR, which comes out to about 477 USD. Okay, so that's about $68 per day. Obviously, if you think about it on a monthly scale, I would take out the scooter lesson. Obviously, that's only something I would do once, and I would also take out the shopping for like the rest of the month. So if you take that out and you multiply it by 4, it ends up being around $1,700 a month total to live this kind of lifestyle. And obviously for me, you know, looking at what my friends are spending in the US on rent alone, it's about $1,700 a month. So yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing what you're able to kind of get here, the quality of life for the amount of money. Obviously, this is why I like to always try and go to the local warungs and support the local community here, because it's super important. But yeah, that's just kind of a good representation of what you can expect to spend for this kind of lifestyle. And also on top of that, if you were to take into account monthly discounts, so monthly discounts on accommodation and gym memberships and transportation and stuff like that, that is why slow travel is definitely a better option if you really want to maximize your budget. So taking that into account, you could easily live this lifestyle for anywhere from $1,500 to $1,700 a month. You can really go as low as probably like $800 to $1,000 a month on everything if you're really pinching pennies. But I'm kind of entering a phase where I want to treat myself a little bit more. So I hope this was super helpful. If you found it helpful, please give it a like and make sure to subscribe to my channel. Go check out my previous vlogs in Canggu. I'm also here in Uluwatu at the moment, so you will kind of see what the lifestyle is like here as well in a future video. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!